if I told you that the largest passenger planes ever built, the legendary Boeing 747 and the massive Airbus A380, are being replaced by something 5 times smaller? Sounds insane, right? But here's the thing, it's happening right now. Major airlines are literally parking their jumbo jets in the desert and ordering hundreds of these smaller planes instead. And when you see what I'm about to show you, your mind is going to be blown. Here's a shocking fact. In 2019, Airbus delivered its last ever A380, the plane that cost $25 billion to develop, the plane that could carry 850 passengers, the engineering marvel that airports had to literally rebuild their gates for. Airbus just stopped making them. And Boeing? They're ending 747 passenger production too. The Queen of the Skies, the plane that literally changed the world, is being retired by airline after airline. But here's where it gets really interesting. These airlines aren't replacing them with other jumbo jets. They're replacing them with an airplane called the A321XLR. Now, if you're wondering if the A321 is that small plane you take on a 2-hour connecting flight, you're absolutely right, and that's what makes this story insane. The A380 is an absolute unit. It's got 2 full decks, 4 engines, and some versions have actual shower spas on board. Emirates literally put showers at 40,000 feet. The plane weighs 1.2 million pounds fully loaded. The A321XLR. It's a pencil by comparison. Single aisle, 2 engines, weighs about 220,000 pounds. You could literally fit 5 A321XLRs inside the weight of one A380. So why would airlines choose the tiny plane over the giants? Here's where it gets interesting. An A380 costs about $445 million each. The A321XLR, about $130 million. So it's definitely cheaper, but that's not even the start of it. The real shocker is something called cost per seat mile. This is what airlines obsess over. It's basically how much it costs to fly one passenger 1 mile. And here's where things get spicy. To make money with an A380, you need to fill about 400 to 500 seats. Every single flight. Do you know how hard that is? There are only about 30 airports in the world with enough demand to consistently fill an A380. But wait, it gets worse for the jumbo jets. Let's say you're flying from London to New York. A massive route, tons of demand. You can fill your A380 once a day. But what if you could fly an A321XLR 3 times a day instead, giving passengers more schedule options, and still make more money? This is exactly what's happening, and if you think that's wild, just wait until you hear about the range capabilities. Here's a stat that's going to have you thinking. The A321XLR can fly 4,700 nautical miles. That's New York to Rome, London to Delhi, Tokyo to Singapore. But wait, you're probably wondering, can't the A380 fly further? Yes, the A380 can fly about 8,000 nautical miles. But here's the thing, airlines don't want to fly that far with that many passengers. Think about it. How many routes in the world need 500 plus passengers flying 8,000 miles nonstop? Like Sydney to London? LA to Singapore? That's basically it. There are maybe 10 to 15 routes globally that need that capability. But routes that need 180 to 200 passengers flying 4,700 miles? There are thousands of those. Cities you've never even heard of suddenly become connectable. And that's where this gets really interesting. Here's something that most passengers have no idea about. You know how your luggage goes under the plane? Well, there's usually a ton of extra space down there, and airlines fill it with cargo. Your Amazon packages, fresh flowers, even mail, it's all flying beneath your feet. The A380 has a problem. It has so much passenger space that by the time you load all the passenger bags, there's barely room for profitable cargo. The 747 was better at this, with its iconic hump, but still not great on passenger flights. The A321XLR. It's got the perfect ratio. Airlines can make money from tickets and from cargo. On some routes, the cargo revenue literally doubles the profitability of the flight. There's a rumored quote circulating that the A321XLR is a cargo plane that happens to carry passengers. The A380 can only use specially modified gates at major airports. These gates cost millions to build. Airports literally had to strengthen their taxiways because the A380 was so heavy. Some airports even had to widen their runways. Guess how many airports the A321XLR can use? Basically, all of them. If an airport can handle a regular A321, which is pretty much every commercial airport on Earth, it can handle the XLR. This means airlines can suddenly fly long-range routes from smaller cities. Imagine flying from Nashville direct to London, from Portland straight to Paris, from Birmingham, Alabama to Barcelona. These routes were impossible with jumbo jets, but with the A321XLR, totally doable. Let me give you some real examples of the route revolution that is happening right now in modern day. JetBlue is launching Boston to Amsterdam with the A321XLR. Iberia is flying Madrid to Washington, D.C. American Airlines is planning Philadelphia to Reykjavik. Qantas wants to fly Brisbane to Tokyo. None of these routes could work profitably with an A380 or 747. There aren't enough passengers. But with 180 seats that need to be filled, absolutely profitable. But here's the really clever part. Airlines can use the same plane for short flights on Tuesday and ultra-long flights on Wednesday. Modern A321XLRs have lie-flat business-class seats that are just as good as what you'd find on a wide body. The economy seats? Same width as on an A380, about 18 inches. The only real difference? You can't walk around as much because there's only one aisle. But here's what passengers really care about: direct flights. Surveys show that passengers will choose a direct flight on a smaller plane over a connection on a jumbo jet every single time. And for airlines, this is gold. They can charge premium prices for these direct flights. That New York to Rome flight on an A321XLR, airlines are charging the same or more than what they used to charge on a wide body. Let's not forget about emissions, because this is becoming a huge issue for airlines. The A380 has 4 engines, 4 massive engines. Even though it carries more passengers, the fuel burn per seat on an A380 is actually higher than on an A321XLR when you factor in typical load factors. Here's a number that'll stick with you. An A321XLR burns about 20% less fuel per passenger than an A380 on the same route when both are at typical capacity. Airlines are making massive climate commitments. They're promising to be carbon neutral by 2050. Guess what doesn't help with that? Flying half-empty A380s around the world. But wait, there's more. This is the part that really killed the jumbo jets. Let's say you're an airline and there's a global pandemic like what the world recently experienced. Suddenly nobody's flying. What do you do with your A380s? You can't fly them with 50 passengers. You'll lose millions. So you park them in the desert. But with a fleet of A321XLRs, you can adjust, fly them less frequently, use them on shorter routes temporarily. The operating costs are so much lower that you can survive with fewer passengers. This actually happened. During 2020 to 2021, airlines with A380s were bleeding money, while airlines with smaller, efficient planes survived much better. It was the final nail in the jumbo jet coffin. And here's something even more crazy. Airbus has orders for over 500 A321XLRs already, and they haven't even delivered that many yet. Meanwhile, they built only 251 A380s in total history. Boeing's trying to compete with their 737 MAX 10, but it can't fly nearly as far. They're literally watching Airbus eat their lunch on routes that Boeing created with the 747 50 years ago, and the order book keeps growing. Every month, another airline announces they're buying A321XLRs. The waiting list is now stretched into the 2030s. For decades, aviation worked on a hub and spoke model. You fly from a small city to a big hub on a small plane. Then from the hub to another hub on a jumbo jet. Then to your final destination on another small plane. 3 flights to get anywhere international. The A321XLR breaks this completely. Now airlines can fly direct from spoke to spoke. Why fly from Nashville to Atlanta to London when you can just fly Nashville to London direct? This is terrifying for big hub airports. Places like Atlanta, Chicago O'Hare, and Dubai built their entire business model on being connection hubs for jumbo jets. Now, that model is dying. Here's something counterintuitive. A 321XLR can actually get you to your destination faster than an A380, even on the same route. How? It's not about flying speed. Both cruise at about the same speed. It's about turnaround time. An A380 takes about 90 to 120 minutes to unload, clean, refuel, and reload. An A321XLR, about 45 to 60 minutes. Plus, with more frequencies, you don't have to wait as long for a flight. Miss the morning A380? Wait until tomorrow. Miss the morning A321XLR. Catch the afternoon flight. Industry experts are predicting something absolutely wild. By 2035, there will be more transatlantic flights operated by narrow-body aircraft than wide bodies. That's a complete reversal from today. The A380 will likely be completely gone from passenger service by 2040. The 747 passenger variants might last a bit longer with some carriers, but not much. We're witnessing the end of an era and the beginning of something completely new. So here's my question for you. Drop your answer in the comments. Would you rather fly on one of the last A380s to experience the jumbo jet era? Or are you excited about having more direct flight options on the A321XLR? And don't forget, if you like this video, like and subscribe.